The hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Hey, everybody.
Hello,
How are you doing?
good evening. Good.
Oh, boy, we're on tonight. We weren't going to be on tonight, but
I
here
know.
we are. Moms for Justice.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, maybe not real quick. We'll see. We'll see where the night takes us. But I'm Carolyn, and this is my co-host, Jocelyn. And we have lots of news for you. We have the biggest news that we've been waiting for a while now, and that's about the Menendez brothers. And I am
so good.
So happy right now.
I know.
And so excited.
It's just like, it's not 100%, but we're getting closer, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I really think it's gone downhill since there. So, okay. So the Menendez brothers. All right. So there was a big announcement today. And the DA came forward to give a press conference, and I'm going to play a little bit for you now. This is so exciting for them, and I just want can you imagine? And I bet you, I know that there's probably somebody on the phone with the Menendez brothers at this very moment during the announcing. I mean, you just know that there's somebody that's nearby listening and getting the whole story, and then probably
for sure.
Yeah, and probably has them.
You know that they're like crying right now when they heard the announcement. Of course, I think they heard it before us, but I think it's just amazing. I can't imagine what they're feeling right now. Although I'm really hoping it doesn't backfire too.
Yeah, I mean, I had tears in my eyes when I heard it, and I was just like, and it's funny. It's like I've followed this case for so long, and I feel like you know them. It's kind of it's crazy, and you're just like your heart goes out to them, and you just want them to get real hugs from family and have a real home cooked meal, and just just be free, free to live their lives. So
absolutely,
here it is. I'm gonna play it for you. And you guys can tell me what you think. It starts right off. I have it queued up.
All right.
Let me begin by telling you that this is a case where we've had many people in this office spend a great deal of time reviewing the case. I have to tell you unequivocally that we don't have a universal agreement. There are people in the office that strongly believe that the Menendez brothers should stay in prison the rest of their life, and they do not believe that they were molested. And there are people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested. I have to tell you that after a very careful review of all the arguments that were made from people on both sides of this equation, I came to a place where I believe that under the law, resentencing is appropriate, and I am going to recommend that to a court tomorrow. What that means in this particular case is that we're going to recommend to the court that the life without the possibility of parole be removed, and that they will be sentenced for murder, which, because there are two murders involved, that will be 50 years to life. However, because of their age, under the law, since they were under 26 years of age at the time that these crimes occurred, they will be eligible for parole immediately. The teams that have worked on this, on the resentencing side of it, have spent literally probably hundreds of hours by now looking at this case. These cases were originally presented on the habeas side of it, which I'll explain in a moment what that is, last year, and then the request for a prosecutor-initiated resentencing occurred earlier this year. And there have been people in this office working in these cases from the very beginning, as well as many other cases that we have. The reason why I'm here today and why I came in front of all of you about 10 days ago is because there was a more recent documentary about the case that again brought a tremendous amount of public attention. And we know there have been other documentaries, so this is not the first, this is a more recent one. And frankly, our office got flooded with requests for information. And even though this case was already scheduled to be heard in late November, I decided to move this forward because, quite frankly, we did not have enough resources to handle all the requests. And one of the things that I thrive to do in this office is to be very transparent in everything that we do.
It probably like just so many people calling in.
In this case,
I bet that petition that we all signed really
the prison
did help.
Files. And you have to understand that the way the process works, when you're talking about a resentencing under the law, it really focuses not necessarily on what the original crimes were, but it focuses on, has the person been rehabilitated, number one?
Yep.
And number two, can they be released safely into the community?
Yes.
Yes. They definitely fall under those parameters.
Since I've been in office, we have resentenced over 300 people, including 28 for murder. Only 4 have reoffended. If that was a regular recidivism rate in this country, we would be the safest nation in the world. But we know that it's not. In fact, somewhere between 40 and 50% of the people that go to prison reoffend and get rearrested. And that's why we have so many problems. However, when you look at the case of the Menendez brothers, you see 2 very young people. One was 19 and the other was 21 when they committed these horrible acts. And I want to underline, they were horrible acts. There is no excuse for murder. And I will never imply that what we're doing here is to excuse that behavior. Because even if you get abused, the right path is to call the police, seek help. But I understand also how sometimes people get desperate. We often see women, for instance, that have been battered for years, and sometimes they will murder their abuser out of desperation. And I do believe that the brothers were subjected to a tremendous amount of dysfunction in the home and molestation.
Amen.
But they went to prison for life without the possibility of parole, which meant that certainly under the law at that time, they had no hopes of ever getting out. They could have done what many other people do, which is basically said, you know what, I'm here for the rest of my life, so I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to misbehave, I'm going to join gangs, I'm going to live the life of the prison. But they never did that. To the contrary, even though they didn't think that they would ever be let free, they engaged in a different journey. A journey of redemption and a journey of rehabilitation.
They definitely were looking
and
towards the
often
future.
The people that begin their journey of rehabilitation and redemption in prison is often very internal. And what they do, and one of our lawyers pointed out this today, is usually the path is people try to further their education, do things for self-improvement, which the brothers have done, by the way. But it's more unique or less usual, I guess, when people not only do that, but they also begin to engage in ways to make life for others better. And in this case, the brothers have been doing so for a very long time, creating groups to deal with how to address untreated trauma, creating groups to deal with other inmates that have physical disabilities, and may be treated differently. Even in one case, Lyle negotiating for other inmates as to the conditions that they live under during prison. And all this was done by two young people. Now they're not as young. They had no hopes of ever getting out of prison. They have been in prison for nearly 35 years. I believe that they have paid their debt to society, and the system provides a vehicle for their case to be reviewed by a parole board, and if the parole concurs with my assessment, and it will be their decision, they will be released accordingly. I must underline, however, this case will be filed in court tomorrow. The final decision will be made by the judge. Court has to agree with my conclusion that they deserve to be resentenced. It is very possible that there may be members of this office that will be present in court opposing the resentencing.
Wow.
And they have a right to do so.
They do.
And we encourage those that disagree with us to speak, and the court is the appropriate place to do it. We certainly feel we're very sure not only that the brothers have rehabilitated and that they will be safe to be reintegrated in our society, but that they have paid their dues, not only for the crimes that they committed, but because of all the other things they have done to improve the life of so many others. So, again, we will be filing for resentencing tomorrow. We're seeking that they would be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole, as opposed to life without the possibility of parole, which is they currently have. That means that they would have 50 years to life because there were two murders. But because of the age upon which they were convicted, under 26, under current law, that means they're eligible for youthful parole. I think there is also important to have some introspection today, because I think that often, for cultural reasons, we don't believe victims of sexual assault, whether they're women or whether they're men. We saw in our first trial, which, by the way, they were tried twice. The first trial hung, meaning the jury could not come to a conclusion, and in fact about half of the jury wanted to convict them of manslaughter, which, if that were have been the case, they would have been off prison a long time ago. And then there was a second trial, and then they were convicted of murder with special circumstances, which led to the life without the possibility of parole. But it's salient to understand that our own implicit and sometimes explicit bias around sexual abuse and sexual assaults often leads us to severe injustices in our community. And I want to speak to those that are victims of sexual assault now, whether you're a man or a woman. Know that we're here for you. If you're a victim of sexual assault in this community, and by that we're talking about LA County, not just LA City, you can come for help. Whether you're prepared to prosecute or not, we will be here for you. We have services for you. And if you're prepared to move forward with the prosecution, we will evaluate it as we do any other case. And if we believe that the evidence is there to present a credible case in front of a jury that can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, we would proceed accordingly. You do not have to suffer alone. You don't have to keep it to yourself. And help is here unconditionally. I'm going to say a few words in Spanish because I know there's tremendous amount of interest from the Spanish media, and I know that there are going to be other speakers today,
Okay.
and then we're going to open.
So there it is.
So who are those people standing there with him, by the way?
Well,
Do
I
we
know this is Kitty's niece. So that's
Which one? In the red?
in the red. I'm sorry, in the red here. She
Yeah.
is the niece, so she's Joan's daughter. And then I'm not sure. Oh wait, this is actually also
The
this
niece,
is-
right?
no. She is. I know that she's a niece. I just don't know if she is Joan's daughter also. But I know she's a
Right.
niece also.
And then the lady in the blue behind the
I don't know.
district attorney, I
Not
think
sure.
she's a relative too, because I remember her. I think I remember her from when they had that speech last week.
She's definitely involved in the case. Sorry about my dog. He's crying. Anyway, so there you have it. So it's actually one huge leap, not just a step.
Yes.
It's a huge leap towards the next step. We're not done yet. So tomorrow he's going to go ahead before a judge and recommend that the judge order a resentencing. And
So what I was saying is, you're probably going to say it anyway. So they're saying that we have to wait for the judge to rule, but the court case can be the end of this year or early next year. It's like, why so long?
right. I know. Well, it's not just that. So you've got, and by the way, I do have that niece is going to be speaking in a second, but and I want to play some of that. So it's not just that the judge has to agree with it also after hearing people come in and basically fight for them not to get resentenced, but then it's recommended to the parole board to allow them to go free. And then they're going to have to go before the parole board. And remember, at the parole board, they're going to have, for example, we all know that Kitty's brother is strongly against the brothers. But to me, I'm sorry, but, she was abused. I heard he was abused. I heard he was an abuser. I mean, I know it's hearsay and all that, but we're so close right now. And I just want to be like, go away, because all I've heard is that everybody else in your family has supported them except for you. And they claim, or family has claimed, that he is a sexual abuser himself. So he just better
Probably.
go home. Right?
Yeah.
Go home. There's no, at least the brothers have testimony from all these family members. Okay.
Yes.
Where is there anybody else supporting this guy? So let's play a little bit of, and I'm also going to let him out.
Yeah.
Because he's driving me nuts. But I'm going to play a little bit.
Mine's actually sleeping right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Take a listen.
But I understand also how sometimes people
sorry.
get desperate.
I lost my spot.
And there was a second
me a
trial,
second.
and then they were convicted.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
That's so funny. I could have sworn we saw the lady up there.
It's like
And
right
then what happened?
about here it is. Okay.
Okay.
The DA's decision reflects the truth that was hidden for so long, and I am grateful for his leadership in making this choice. We stand united in our hope and gratitude. Together we can make sure that Erik and Lyle receive the justice they deserve and finally come home. Thank you to District Attorney George Gascon for his courage and leadership. This step gives us all hope that the truth will finally be heard and that Lyle and Erik can begin to heal from the trauma of their past. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Maria.
Yeah,
I believe Jose Menendez is going to say a few words.
this is the niece of Kitty
Oh, you're gonna
Menendez,
say, I'm sorry.
Joan Vandermolen.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for coming. We are here today because District Attorney Gascon has taken a brave and compassionate step forward by recommending resentencing for my cousins,
So brave.
Erik and Lyle. And we wish to offer our deepest gratitude to DA Gascon. This decision is not just a legal matter. It is a recognition of the abuse my cousins endured, and we are grateful for the DA's leadership in putting justice over politics. We know this wasn't an easy decision, but is the right one. This is about truth, justice, and healing. It is time for Lyle and Erik to come home. And I ask all of you to join us in this fight for justice. We stand united in our hope and in our gratitude. Together we can make sure that Erik and Lyle receive the justice they deserve and finally come home. Thank you again to District Attorney George Gascon for his courage and leadership. This step gives us all hope that truth will finally be heard and Erik and Lyle can begin to heal from the horrors of their past. We hope this will also shed light and increase awareness and help others who have been victimized by sexual violence. Thank you all so much for being here today. We are grateful for everyone's support.
You don't forget
she
that.
says,
Go ahead.
Anyone else speaking?
she says about
Okay, and I
this is not
apologize.
politics. But
Reading
you
the-
know that he's up for just to say, he's up for re-election, and
Yeah, and
he's
he's trailing.
yeah, I
He's
was gonna say
trailing behind his
he's,
opponent.
he's down in the polls. But you know what? I don't know. I'm still
Well,
grateful he's making this ruling,
I
or
thought-
not ruling, but this decision.
Okay, so I thought about that, and I thought, well, maybe he's thinking, you want to. I want to believe that he's doing it out of genuine, feeling for these boys, and that he thinks they should be
Right.
free. But in case, just in case, it's some sort of political move. If you're trailing that far behind, why not try that one thing? I mean, you're trailing
Yeah.
anyway. You're not going to win anyway, because maybe it's something, because half the world really does think that the Menendez brothers should be released. So maybe it would actually turn things around for him too. So it's,
Right.
they don't want it to be about
I
politics.
think he's
and
trailing by like 30 points or something, like something pretty big.
it's big. Yeah, very
Yeah.
big. Okay.
It's
so
a Hail Mary for him.
it is definitely, yeah, he's rolling the dice. He's like, okay.
He's throwing that football for a Hail Mary.
Let
You
me
never
just
know.
see.
But listen, I'll take it.
Okay, let me just see what this woman's saying here. Hold on. Hopefully it doesn't mess up on me.
Here, and I'm trying to
Okay.
understand all
I'm
the.
gonna skip through.
Nancy, why don't you walk everybody through?
Okay.
Let me just see who this is.
So what we'll do is we'll file our. My name is
There you
Nancy
go.
Thaberge. I'm the deputy in charge of the resentencing unit. This is Brock
Oh, yay.
Lunsford, assistant head deputy of the post-conviction litigation division. So what will happen is tomorrow we will file the actual petition requesting resentencing with the legal arguments and accompanying exhibits as to why we think it's appropriate. It's just a filing. No one's going to physically be in the courtroom. From there, we'll also serve the defense with our motion and our paperwork so that they'll have their copies. And from there, we will coordinate with the defense to set up a court date with the court so that the petition can be heard. Now, whether or not that's a setting or a hearing will be decided between us and the defense and the court once everybody gets an idea of what we've filed. Then from there at the hearing, the defense can either decide to have the defendants, the Menendez brothers, physically brought into court. They can ask that the individuals appear by video or audio WebEx, a kind of a Zoom participation, which we all kind of adapted to because of COVID. And then from there, we will do the hearing and submit all the written and legal and oral arguments and any evidence that needs to be admitted at the time, and then the court will rule at that point. But we don't have that court date yet because we're just starting the process tomorrow. But it's our intention to have that go forward before the habeas, because if the judge grants it, that may impact the defense's decision to proceed on the habeas. So we're going to
So
try.
it sounds like
just
they are
as a matter
rushing a
of
little.
economy of time to stack it one before the other.
Now, have the brothers found out about this in real time, or were they told about this beforehand, or what was their reaction if they
No, this
No,
was.
this is actually the family was only invited to come. They were not aware what the final decision was until a few
Wow.
minutes ago.
That's so awesome.
The brothers may be actually seeing you guys on TV or social media, but no one knew other than a very small number of
you
people in this
imagine?
office.
Yeah, I can't know.
And by the way, I should tell you that actually the final decision was just made about an hour ago. Right. Then it goes back to the prison system, and then the parole system takes over that. That's correct.
Would there be a probationary period? Would they have to live in a halfway house or simply be released if they're allowed to be released?
You know, those are really completely entirely up to the parole board. Please, we'll try.
What was the factor that made the final decision? You said the final decision was just made. Was it the letter? Was it the Menudo confession? What was it that put you over the top to make?
No, what it was is I was evaluating the arguments that were being made within my office, both pro and against the release.
DA, can I ask you?
Hold on, I had it.
Calls from
Yeah.
people that
I'm, you know, you have made resentencing a cornerstone of your tenure as district attorney here in Los Angeles. There are some people who have accused you of using this very, very highly publicized, clearly case to use it for politics.
He
given
gets
how
mad
close
here,
you
I
are to
think.
the election. What's your response to people who have been making that claim?
There's nothing political about this. We have resentenced over 300 people, including 28 for murder, and we will continue to resentence people in the future. And that's all I can tell you.
But DA, question. But
Yes,
how
sir.
is your bid for
Excuse me, please. You're interrupting.
Everyone's interrupting. I'm just
No.
wondering how your bid for re-election.
Yes, please. Yes.
Could the brothers be home by Thanksgiving?
I don't know the answer to that.
Why did you decide not to go with the reduced voluntary manslaughter?
That was part of the process that I was still going through up until a couple hours ago. I don't believe that a manslaughter would have been the appropriate charge given the premeditation that was involved in the murders. I believe that these were clearly murders that were premeditated. Now the motivation, that's where differences of opinion come up, but I don't think it would be appropriate to go all the way down to manslaughter.
DA,
Yes,
has
ma'am.
your bid for re-election impacted
Would you
your
please
decision?
stop? I am not going to talk about re-election, okay?
Okay. So
If you want to talk to re-election, go outside. We'll
But
talk
has
later.
your bid-
Please.
It's a fair question. No, it's not. It is a.
I'm sorry, you're interrupting, sir. Please.
¿Qué va a pasar mañana después de que presenten en la corte los documentos?
Pues depende, como estaba explicando la abogada
Great.
la encargada de esta
Anna.
unidad. La
We
corte
need you, Anna.
probablemente va a señalar otro día donde los dos, la defensa y nosotros, podemos ir y habrá una evaluación de la evidencia. Si hay alguien que se opone a esta moción que estamos, este proceso que estamos iniciando, también la corte va a poder oír todo eso y la corte toma la decisión final. Yes, ma'am.
Announced the press conference before you made your decision?
Yes, because we're going to make a decision one way or the other. It's just a question what the decision was going to be.
Just giving
Yes.
you a timeline to
If
work
you are no longer in office, what happens to this case? Could a potential successor undo what you're about to file?
Good question.
I don't think so. Once it's
Yeah.
filed. It's up to the court to take it from there.
You mentioned
So it was
Yes,
like an
I'm sorry.
innocent way of him handling it,
Okay, sorry, what?
It was an innocent way of him handling it because he's allowing them, he's making the suggestion for them to be resentenced. And at that point, the jurors could say, well, no, they still need to serve, not the jurors, the resentencing board could say either time served or they could say, no, he needs to serve another 10 years or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like, so it still is very favorable for him, not to bring the charge down to manslaughter.
Yeah, and another thing I noticed is that manslaughter is not even mentioned now. It's just murder charge, 50 years, but because of their age, it would be
Right.
less, and then a resentencing would be appropriate if everybody agrees.
Right.
That's what I'm getting. I thought it was going to be like, oh, well, how would we have sentenced them? We would have sentenced them to manslaughter because of the abuse. But no, that's off the table. That has nothing to do with it anymore.
Right.
But that's,
Right.
Okay. Let's see what some of the other questions are. Anna says he was just repeating his prior speech in Spanish.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Since you're obviously supporting the push for release here, how would that work with people from post-litigation? We said something big going for the parole board to argue for their release? Or
No, we have a policy that we only send victim services advocate if the victim or the victim's family wants that support. We don't send lawyers to our parole boards to relitigate a case. The parole board is fully aware of what the initial crime was, the crime that led to the conviction. Their work is primarily to evaluate whether they're rehabilitated and safe to be released, and that will be the way here.
Can you break down the timeline for us? Can we expect a hearing by the end of the year? You know, we
By the end of the year.
We don't.
I'm hoping to get it on calendar, depending on the defense preparedness. I'd like to see it go to hearing probably within the next 30 to 45 days at the most. There's not much to argue. Because we're kind of a collective.
Okay, there's one more question, please, but related to the case, not to elections. If you want to talk about elections, we'll do that.
Related to the case.
Yes, sir.
What would you like to say right now to Erik and Lyle Menendez?
What we like to say to them, and it's we, because it's not a, I made the final decision, obviously, but we have a whole team that worked on it. We have a family here that wants to be reunited, is that we appreciate what they did while they were in prison. While I disapprove of the way they handle their abuse, we hope that they not only have learned, which appears that they have, but that if they get reintegrated into our community, that they continue to do public good. Thank you so much, everyone.
That was a good answer.
Okay, so one of the questions being asked is about their wives. So they both have a wife. So Erik has Tammy is his wife. This article just came out saying that if he goes free, he'll live with his wife in Vegas, which I don't know where they're getting it. Well, I disagree with that. I don't know where they're getting their information from, but unless Lyle goes to Vegas, I don't think that's going to happen. I personally think that, yes, he probably, I don't know what his personal relationship is like with his wife, Tammy, and, but I think that always, forever, until the end of time, his loyalty will always be to Lyle. And I don't think those two are going to be separated. So I think Lyle would have to agree to go to Vegas. And then...
Or maybe just try it out to see, maybe, and then maybe they might not realize it until later.
Yeah. So, like, if you're listening right now, what do you guys think about Tammy? So what I've heard is she put out a book and she made some money off of this case. She says she genuinely loves Erik. She had, I'll just tell you real quick what I know. And then I don't know if you looked into it too, but
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So
just a little quick.
Okay, so what I know is that she was married. Tammy was married to somebody else, and her marriage was fine. It was like really solid, and she said we were in love and all that. And she started watching the Menendez trial back in the day, and she said even her husband was watching it with her.
Wow.
Okay. So they would watch the case together, and I don't know what her personal trauma is, if she has any abuse, but when Erik went on the stand and she heard all the evidence and heard his testimony, she just really felt so terrible for him. So she asked her husband, I really want to write him. Would that bother you? And he said, no, you can write Erik Menendez. That I'd be fine with that. So, really. So she starts writing Erik Menendez. And she said it took a month for him to respond. He responded back, and then pretty quickly they started going back and forth. And then she said that she finally scheduled a meeting. She went to the prison to meet with him. And she said when he walked in, she had like the whole butterflies and the whole 9 yards going on in her belly. And she got in her car. Oh, this is exactly what she said. She said, when I left after that first time, I got into my car, and as I'm driving away, all I thought about was how quickly can I go back? And I don't know when the divorce happened after that, but eventually she leaves her husband. Imagine being that guy. Poor guy.
Well, actually, there's more to it with him.
Go ahead. What did you learn?
I got a little bit more tea than that.
All right, go ahead.
So basically, so she learns in 1996 that her husband had sexually abused her 15-year-old daughter.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
And
Ooh,
so
that's horrible.
So her husband gets arrested, and file charges, and then 2 days later he committed suicide.
Oh my God. But I think at that point she had already left him for Erik, right?
Yeah.
She had already left him at that point, correct? Because she started writing Erik Menendez pretty quickly right after the trial. So when did he die? What year?
He died. He must have died in 1996 because that's when she learned of it.
Or it's like this divine mix of things that happened. She happens to be like talking to this guy, having feelings, and then wow. Didn't know that.
She had a 9-month-old with her ex-husband.
Okay.
A 9-month-old. So when he died, she was left with her 15-year-old daughter and a 9-month-old child, baby.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I know some stuff on Lyle too. You know, he was married twice.
I know. Yeah, he had this beautiful blonde in the courtroom, and then he ended up marrying her, and then he ended up with Rebecca Sneed. Yes. And I'll show you a quick picture of her, and you go ahead and tell me what you found out about them.
Well, actually, I didn't find out.
Oh, you didn't?
Aww. I didn't find out anything really on Rebecca, but just that I was kind of intrigued that Anna was a model for Lord & Taylor as a teen model, and then she modeled in Europe in 1980s.
Yeah.
But they married through proxy wedding, you know, the good old school proxy wedding. But it turned out they didn't really have to do much for a legal separation because
right.
It was a proxy wedding. So
no, you know, he was engaged to Jamie Pisarcik while he was waiting trial.
Right.
And then eventually everything came crashing down. You know, I really think she was maybe a gold digger, Jamie Pisarcik.
Yeah, a little bit.
At
least the person who was crossing her made her really look that way. Or was it the defense? I don't know. She was on the stands and she was answering questions, and
the defense made her look. Yeah, made her look bad. And you know what? I thought because, like, you know, the parents get murdered and then he's arrested and he has her move into the house, like playing house in that big mansion. And I just thought that was weird. Like, first of all, why did they even reside there for a little while afterwards? I didn't think they should have done that. It was probably a poor choice. I mean, that's the room where your parents died. But again, they're young and immature, right?
Lyle was living in the back. Remember, he was in the guest room when all that
they
stuff
all
went
moved
down.
No, he moved into the main house after his parents died.
Oh.
And Jamie Pisarcik moved in with him, and they were playing rich husband and wife kind of a thing. And I think she wanted that life. Right. And I think she just kind of blocked it out of her mind. I mean, you remember when she testified how much she was talking about this dream wedding she wanted, and she kept and then she was getting books for him. Remember, he was asking her to get him books and also get case files on people who have killed their parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Due to abuse.
Yeah. And then I think if I'm not mistaken, Leslie Abramson, Erik's attorney, cross-examined her, or maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was Lyle's attorney, but they proved that none of the cases that she gave him would have related to this or something like that. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Did you watch that testimony?
I just remember her saying that she that he requested files on people who were acquitted, even though that they committed murder due to and their story was abuse. So it was, but I don't remember the defense making it sound like that was coincidental.
Yeah, there was something with her with the case files. Like there was, I don't remember. I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, they were asking if she read them, and she's like, no. But you know, things like that. Like, but she just knew what it was about.
Yeah, right. So I'm just so excited, and I really hope this is just swift and fast, and that they get out quickly. It would be nice to have them home for Thanksgiving, but I think it's kind of an exciting time because it's not just this; they've also got a date in sight anyway. If this doesn't work out,
well,
the habeas corpus.
Right, but they're hoping to get a date. They said 30 to 45 days. That's what that woman said, right?
I know.
Right at the end of the interview. 30.
And the habeas trial is like November.
At the end of November 26th or 28th. It's like literally a month from now. So they're comparing this to a Gypsy Rose story, but Gypsy didn't kill her mom. Did you see that? In her defiance, it was killed or be killed. I feel they should be freed. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
don't
They
know
should
that
be
case.
freed.
Yeah.
Well, listen, she wasn't the one who did the dirty work, Gypsy. She hired her boyfriend to kill her mother, but she was in on the planning and everything, but she was brainwashed, abused mentally, physically, and medically abused, by the way. She was medically abused. She's just to tell Lynn real quick, I don't know if you know who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is. She was at a very young age, her mom like kind of contrived this story and made everybody believe she had cancer, shaved her head, put her in a wheelchair so that they could get money. And they would play the whole, it was like Munchausen, but it was really just for financial gain.
Right.
And then when the daughter was like, I don't want to be in this wheelchair anymore. She really could walk, but she made everybody think she couldn't walk. Again, I don't have all the specific details because
how old was the kid? Like 10 or younger?
Really, it started off so early as I can remember. But then she gets to be. But here's the thing: she was older than she would advertise her daughter to be because she had this really tiny face and this tiny miniature look. So she would like lie and say like when she was 12, would say she was really 8, just to keep keep the money coming in and all that.
Right.
Well, by the time Gypsy could hormones are setting in and she could have a boyfriend, she wasn't allowed to do anything because she wasn't allowed to show she could walk. She wasn't allowed to show that she was really healthy. So she goes online to meet a boyfriend. And she falls in love, and then the mother is like, no, the mother acted like, you owe me, we're a team, that kind of a thing, and you can't have a life. So the boyfriend and her teamed up and killed the mother.
Wow.
And Gypsy was put away. So was,
how was the boyfriend?
I don't know if he got death or he put away. I don't remember. I could look it up.
Right.
But
okay.
Gypsy did go away for it, and then they just let her out. Like,
is she from California? Is this in California also?
Like I said, in order for me to be sure, I'm going to have to look it up. So, if you want to know exactly where she lives, Gypsy Rose. Okay.
Well,
Gypsy,
he said that they've sentenced 300 prisoners.
Looks like it's Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Springfield, Missouri, 2nd-degree murder. Dee Dee Blanchard was her mother. She had lifelong physical, mental, and medical abuse. Yeah, she was paroled after 8 years at the end of December 2023. He's
still in. Gina said that he's still there.
He's still there? Okay, thanks. But I have here Missouri, Gina. She was convicted
she did
of
write California. Yeah. She said no, Cali.
No, I'm looking at it right here. She was convicted of 2nd-degree murder in Springfield, Missouri for the death of her mother. So I don't know what the California thing is. Anyway, a lot of people have been saying, hey, Gypsy's allowed out and walking free. Why shouldn't these brothers? Because of all the horrible abuse. Oh, the boys. Yeah. Well, the boys are from California. Maybe that's why maybe that's what the confusion is. Okay. So anyway, Gypsy, like I was even saying it, like I was like, well, if Gypsy can walk free, so can the boys, or the men. I keep saying boys because to me they're still boys. And then you get a chance to grow up at all, right?
I know.
Right, everybody? They did
get
a chance to grow up.
But, I one thing I didn't like how the relatives kept on saying that they hope they get released so that they can start to mend. And I'm like, I really think they've mended in this sense. I mean, they do so much in prison. They got their college degree. Mm-hmm. They are, counselors to people who are suffering from abuse. I really think that they had been mending. I don't really think they need any more mending. I think just maybe acceptance in a sense.
Well,
acceptance.
I think with the whole new window of now they could be out, there is healing that needs to be done, I think, in the comfort of their family around them. I think there is a beginning of healing with them as well. And also some vindication, I guess, of being out and feeling, well, maybe I'm not such it's a horrible crime, but maybe I am not, maybe I can be forgiven. Because I truly believe that no matter what your deeds are, if you are truly sorry and you ask the Lord for forgiveness, you deserve to be forgiven. And you,
But see, I think they did that. I think they already had that
yeah,
feeling
I'm not saying
and said
that
those things.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying the opposite. I'm just telling anybody that's listening right now that is so perplexed over these boys that, you know, there can be forgiveness. I mean, even Jeffrey Dahmer should have never gotten out of prison ever. And he said that he would never, ever want, you know, should never be released. Now, we all know he died in prison. He was killed in prison. But he did go to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. And I do believe that he said, I'm sorry, and did feel remorse. And he had, you know, very little control over his actions and said, I belong here, because if I got out, I would have those temptations again. Do you know?
Right.
So with Menendez brothers, they should be forgiven. I think they should be forgiven, especially there's so many mitigating factors here. So
You think they should be forgiven by society, or you're saying by the Lord?
there's only one person that you need to ask forgiveness for.
Oh,
and
okay.
that is
No, I totally
Lord.
think that.
But I do
I
think people should forgive them and show some grace
Right.
for them, considering what they've been through.
Yeah, I definitely think I mean, you ask the Lord, and as long as this comes from your heart,
Yeah, I mean,
I do believe it.
And you know what? You can't please everybody. And this is outside of true crime. You know what? Even you people on social media, Facebook, you know, we go on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. What you write, what you post, you're always going to have somebody that doesn't agree with you. You're always going to have somebody that, you know, you can't win them all. You just can't. And they have to be able to let go of that when they come out and say, look, you know, people are not going to like us. People are going to think that we should have stayed in jail. And that's just the way it is. I mean,
Well, according even to the DA, Gascon, he said that half of them believe that they deserve to stay in jail, and the other half thought that he was innocent. So, and honestly, like, I just feel that a lot of people feel that on a lot of levels. I mean, just even the election itself.
yeah, you know, we won't get into our personal beliefs and all that. But the thing is, this country is so divided. Mm-hmm. And here's a good example. Like, you're not going to convince the other half to come over to this side. You're just not going to do it. And you're not going to convince the people that are so sure of the Menendez brothers, you know, their guilt and that they made up the abuse and all. You're not going to convince them. It's just not going to happen, you know? Yeah. And with this election, and I bet I know a certain somebody's hoping I'm going to get into politics, but I'm not. I'm just going to say that there's no convincing the other side. You might be able to get one or two people, but they essentially have to like do the reading and research on their own. What you say to them is not going to make them go, oh, okay, all of a sudden I'm going to vote this way. They're not going to do that. They have to figure it out on their own. And it's a small percentage that make that change. Honestly,
I doubt anybody's going to make a change on just hearing what you have to say. So I do agree with you saying to make their own research. But the thing is, I put it as this. If you ask, no matter which side, what do you want for your country? We always ask the same. We always say the same. We want the best for our country. We want fairness. We want democracy. It's just that our vision of that, let's say that vision is a number 4. Mm-hmm. Our vision of number 4 is one color, and their vision of number 4 is another color. But we both sides want the same thing. It's just different. Same but different. And that's why you're never going to get one side to the other side, because you know, our colors are primary colors. They're just not going to mix.
This is the part in the show where my husband would say, move on to another topic.
Yeah.
He'd be like, please don't go there. Don't go into this topic. All right, so P. Diddy. Oh, just kidding. No, really. I was just looking it up, by the way. He could just lawsuits rolling left and right on him.
Oh my God, so many.
What just happened there? Okay, hold on. There's a new one from a teenager. I just lost my spot, of course. Let me see if I can find it back. Okay, new lawsuit accuses Sean Diddy. This is the 21st. Okay, so just the other day, of drugging and raping a 13-year-old at a house party in 2000.
I heard about that one. I'm like, oh God, I hope that's not true. I just hope it's not true.
Trying to see if there's any other details about it. I don't want to rehash everything that we already know.
Yeah.
There's a Texas-based attorney, Tony Busby. He's representing 120 people. Of course, he's denying it. The woman was 13 years old when she went to the show in New York without a ticket. She was hoping to gain entry. Instead, she met a limousine driver who claimed to work for Combs. He invited her to an after party, telling her Combs liked younger girls. And she, quote, fit what Diddy was looking for. After the show, the lawsuit says that the driver brought the teen to a large white house with a driveway. Once she was inside, she was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, all of them
13
say
years
that.
old. First of
So
all,
it's not even legal. It's not even legal.
It's not
Yeah.
binding, so
Right.
I don't know what made them
Right.
think that was going to work. But anyway.
Well, she doesn't know that. She doesn't understand the law, so she's probably thinking, I can't say or do anything because I signed that agreement. You know what I mean?
Right. So anyway, the plaintiff, this 13-year-old, says that there were many celebrities in what appeared to be a living room, and wait staff was carrying trays of drinks and loud music was playing throughout the house. She observed widespread drug use, including marijuana and cocaine. And after consuming just one drink, which was a yellow reddish mixture, it tasted like orange juice, cranberry juice, and something bitter. The teen began to feel woozy and lightheaded and found an empty bedroom to go rest in. This is horrible, okay? Combs then enters the room with two unnamed celebrities, a man and a woman. I have my prediction on who that is.
Okay. What year is this, by the way? Does
it
say
doesn't give.
anything?
Let me look. Let me see, because I might have skipped over that trying to get rid of 2000 October. Wait, no. I don't know. Does it really matter when?
Well, because
I'll go back. I'll get you the date later. I just wanted to get the facts across. Okay, so two unnamed celebrities, a man and a woman, approach the teen and then Combs comes and approaches her with a crazed look in his eyes, grabs her, saying, "Are you ready to party?" And then the two male celebrities rape the girl while the woman celebrity is watching. The teen escaped by hitting Combs as he allegedly tried to force her to perform oral sex, and she runs out of the room naked with her clothes in her hand. She dressed and fled the home, eventually reaching a gas station where a clerk let her use the phone to call her dad. Quote, after the assault, the plaintiff fell into a deep depression, of course, which continues to affect every facet of her life, of course.
Absolutely.
13 years old. So, who do you think the male and female celebrity is?
That's what I'm saying. If I knew the date, if it was like years ago.
Now that I'm done, I can go up to the top here and see if I can. 2000. Yeah. The year 2000.
Oh, so that is 23 years ago.
Yeah.
When did he date J-Lo?
No, he was with, who are you talking about? Combs? No.
Yeah.
Combs, a male celebrity and a female celebrity. I'm thinking the male, not Combs, but the other two are a couple. That's what I got in my head. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
No. 2000?
I think it's Jay-Z and Beyonce.
That's too obvious. I think, and actually,
what do you mean it's too obvious?
That's too obvious.
What's too obvious? It's a male and female celebrity.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they're married. A married male and female. It's just a woman and a man that are celebrities.
I understand that, sweetheart, but you do realize that in a lot of the articles and news that is coming out, it is highly suspected that Jay-Z and Beyonce is involved in these parties. And she's the only female that I've heard of that's that big of a name. I haven't heard of other females. So when it says Combs...
Well, J-Lo was part of that. I mean, she
was not in these freak-off parties. No, she wasn't. I haven't heard that at all.
They dated, and he's been having these freak-offs for like 30 years.
Oh, right. I understand that. But
she would fall under that line.
But there has been nobody who has come forward and said that J-Lo took part in trafficking or freak-off parties but people are saying that about Beyonce. So of course I'm going to think Beyonce and Jay-Z.
That's because Jay-Z is very close to Combs, and we all know that Beyonce's been to these parties. But
oh my gosh, Lynn.
I just don't know. I think it's somebody else.
Okay.
It's too
you
obvious.
think it's somebody else when a lot of people are saying heavily that there is a lot of people hinting that it's Beyonce and Jay-Z were a team and very involved in this stuff, and I have not heard of J-Lo being involved in this stuff. I heard her being at the...
Let's Google, when did they get married?
Go ahead. Well, I was singing a Beyonce song back in 1999, and I know she was with Jay-Z at that time. So she was with Jay-Z at that time. Not Combs. She was with Jay-Z.
Yeah, I know.
And yes, J-Lo might have been dating him, but I don't think it was J-Lo.
They got married in 22.
Married has nothing to do with it. They were dating beforehand. They were together for a long time overall.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that's that. That's what I have as the latest on him. And you know what? The lawsuits just keep coming out. They do not
so
stop.
many.
And you know what?
It says here, Beyonce and Jay-Z began dating in 2001 after meeting at the MTV Spring Break Festival in Cancun, Mexico. Oh, so they began dating in 2001, but they met in Mexico between 1999 and 2000.
Okay, maybe it's not her. Maybe it's not her.
When did he date J-Lo? I'm just curious.
Honey, Jay-Z was with Beyonce and Combs was with J-Lo. Just don't get those confused.
No, I know. I'm saying, when was he?
I think it was around that time. So, okay, so anything else on him? No. I'll just tell you what I have here in the news. Go ahead.
Lopez and Combs dated in an on again, off again relationship between 1999 and 2001.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's J-Lo. I just don't think she would do that. I think she loves children. She seems to be a good mother. She seems to be a good person from what I see.
I totally agree.
And she got away from him.
Yes, I totally, and I think that's because she's so family oriented,
Yeah.
I totally don't think that all 13-year-olds look like 13-year-olds though. There's definitely some 13-year-olds that look like they're 18 or 17 or just not young and innocent,
Right. Okay. So, all right, and then back to Sarah Boone. She told the jury that my fear was he was going to break out of the suitcase. So yes, I heard this testimony, so I'll just update you. So on her direct examination, direct examination, this is the crazy story that happened during the 11 minutes lapse. Remember, there's 2 videos.
Okay.
So
this is okay, go ahead.
This is her story. I'm rehashing it with my own words. So this is not word for word, but this is what I heard. So she said that she was looking to go to bed. And he just kept drinking and drinking. He at one point went out a second time to go get wine, came back, and she was like trying to keep him busy, she said. They went from hanging out outside to coming inside. Then they started painting and drawing and then doing a puzzle. I don't know if that's the right order. And then anyway, so he goes over to her and he goes, "You're it," and runs to go hide. So she's like, oh. So she says, okay, so I ran upstairs. I got into the bathtub, which is, closed the curtain or whatever, and started hiding, but he didn't come for her. So she didn't know where he was. Okay. So after a certain amount of time, she's like, okay, she gave up. And she gets out and she goes down the stairs and she's like, "Where are you?" And she doesn't see him and everything. And she's looking around the house and everything. And then she notices the suitcase. Now, just so you know, the suitcase was originally downstairs, she said, for a few days because they wanted to get rid of it and give it away to Goodwill or something. So, but the reason why it stayed in the foyer for a couple of days was because she was going to try to get rid of other stuff in the house and use the suitcase so she could put stuff in the suitcase, then bring it down to Goodwill. Okay. So she said, so the suitcase happened to be there and there was very few things in it. There was a couple things in it. She said, after she doesn't realize where he is, she sees the suitcase and she sees it kind of moving up and down and he's still kind of at the end state of getting into it. Like he had just flipped it shut and he's trying to zip, whatever.
Right.
So she goes over to him and then she finishes and zips him up. And then she says, it was funny in the first video. It was all jokes. And he was laughing and I was laughing and we all thought it was funny.
Was that true in the first video?
Well,
have we seen the first video?
Yeah, we saw the first video.
Oh, okay.
All that, she was like, this is what you do. This is what you get, like, for what you do to me and all that. She said that was all supposed to be sarcastic and joking around. And somewhere before the video, he's giggling and laughing, and it's all for fun.
All right.
Then she stops videoing, and this is the time that's missing, 11 minutes. She said that during that time, he started yelling and screaming at her and threatening her. And then he's like, when I get out of this suitcase, I'm going to get you. And she feared for her life. So he starts getting out of the suitcase and sliding his hand out, but, get in one spot, gets his hand out. And she says she was so crippled with fear that she went and got a baseball bat and started hitting him with it. And then eventually he gets back, he pulls it back inside. She was, I was so scared for my life. And then you go upstairs and go to bed?
Well, is that what the, like,
well,
what did she
filmed
say?
him again. She filmed him again for a little bit. And she goes, and then I just went upstairs and went to bed. So I did not hear the cross yet. I still have to go back and listen to all the cross. And I might have some in this news article. Okay. So Boone was asked whether she did anything to help Torres escape from the predicament that she zipped him up in, and she said no. Okay. She did testify to some past violence. Prosecutors then showed a video of George begging to be released from the suitcase. Then they saw the interrogation video.
Oh, they did see it.
Uh-huh. Then prosecutor William J. reads a transcript of the video of George Torres in a suitcase in his opening statement. As we know, you will not hear tears. You will not hear sorrow from Boone. Okay, we know that. And I got to tell you, she's cold. She did not get emotional at all. She showed no remorse when I saw her on the stand. Okay, so we saw that part. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here on the latest. No, that seems to be, I just have day 4 here. But my point is, you've got 2 videos with 11 minutes in the middle. The second video being, obviously he's now talking less in the second video because he's running out of air. And at that point, he's just saying, Sarah, please. Sarah, don't sound threatening at all. She's saying that before that, for 11 minutes, he was threatening her life. And she had to hit him with the baseball bat. He puts his hand in. My thing is, if you were scared for your life, you would have ran out of there and left. Why would you go upstairs and go to sleep so the guy could figure out a way out of there and then come and kill you?
Well, she also says in the test, she also says in when they were interrogating her, and also with the cop with the video, when the cop had the video chest, whatever, So body she cam. Says that the body cam. She says that she thought that he could get out, and that she wasn't worried that, and she just went to bed because she thought that he could get out. Like, she didn't think there was such a problem.
Yeah, well, her story's changed so much, and now that we've got this whole new, crock of crap
angle.
Yeah, but still, like, if you were alone and it's like whatever time it was, 11:30, 12 o'clock, and you wanted to go to bed, you started playing this game, and it's all giggles at first, and then all of a sudden he becomes threatening, and now you don't want the guy that's stuck in the suitcase who needs help is threatening your life. He's the one with his life threatened, and then you go upstairs and you want us to buy that you left him in there being fearful for your life, but you go upstairs and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's gonna lose.
I don't get it.
She's
I know.
going down.
I'm dying to know what these juries are actually thinking right now. Like,
they're thinking exactly what I'm thinking.
I know, but you don't know. I
cannot see how any normal person would think any differently. I mean, she's so nailed to the wall. I mean, her story sucks. It sucks. It doesn't make sense.
It does wonder, why did they offer her 15 years if it's such a good case in a sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Why only offer her, like, they might be afraid of something. Why only
because
offer
there
her
is
15
domestic
years?
violence between both of them, and they didn't want to maybe take the chance that maybe a juror would feel. But honestly, they made the right decision, because if you saw her on the stand, she's cold, callous, she never sheds a tear. And then she comes up with this crazy story. I mean, you couldn't come up with anything better than that. You know? You couldn't come up with anything better than that.
Well, I mean, it's plausible. It's better than, I mean, really, what else is there?
It's plausible that she would go upstairs and go to bed.
No, I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about her being scared because of domestic abuse. But really, to say, she obviously was just so drunk.
She
totally forgot. She totally
I know,
forgot she had
but
those
you know
videos.
what? On the stand, she is not drunk, and she's not even showing any remorse.
Yeah,
she's not.
Well, not everybody shows remorse, though.
No, I mean,
but not anything, not even an inkling.
No, you just have to, like, you know. I mean, we can certainly do another episode and actually play it, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, there's simple things that are just. It's just off. She's off. Personality's off.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, no, I see that. All right.
Okay, so that's it for our episode.
Right.
As far as what the boys will do afterwards, I think my prediction is that Erik and Lyle will never be far apart. Maybe. Right. I don't think that marriage is going to last between Tammy. I don't know anything about the other girl. These are just my predictions. I don't think it'll happen. Yeah. You know, it's a whole different story to be married to somebody that you've had no intimacy with, because they don't have conjugal visits.
Yeah, no, I read that today. I was like, shut up.
Can you imagine that?
No.
Today?
That's
but
crazy.
I don't know, maybe they belong together. I don't know. You know?
I mean, they apparently, obviously, that they claim that they fell in love through letters, because obviously that's the only thing that they had, but that they have an emotional tie. But you're right. You know, when you're like, I mean, I watched 90 Day Fiance all the time. Love that show. Anyway, they say that, like, you know, they have this video chat all the time, video chat each other all the time. They're talking all the time. But when they see each other, it's almost like it's like all new again, you know? So they kind of have to like rekindle in that sense all over
and they
again.
have to be attracted to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
But, you know what? I mean, the thing is I think the guys might be attracted to their mates, because to them, like, what else is that? Like, not necessarily what else is out there, but I think.
I don't think they had any shortage of women, though. I don't.
Oh, yeah?
I think they had a ton of women, and I think that maybe this is genuine, that he really loves her. Because, the Menendez brothers had tons of girls writing and wanting to. Yeah. They had no shortage.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's our show today.
Yay.
I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad we got to update everybody. So we will be on Monday, right?
Yes. Right. We're not sure what we're doing yet, though.
No, I haven't decided yet, because there's just so much going on.
And good luck tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Well, we'll see if it even happens. We'll see.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys, give us some likes and loves and hearts in our comments, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. And that's it for today. So I will see you, my darling. I love your little heart at the end.
Have a wonderful, beautiful weekend.
Yes,
everybody.
have a great weekend.
And we'll see you guys Monday.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.